Hey guys, it's Casual Friday. That means it's Medium Nancy Matt's Friday, and today's topic is what's lying in wait for you in the dark. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Okay, guys, please bear with me. I've got some issues going on. I'm going to do a reboot. I'm having trouble with my camera and my browser, so just hang loose for a second. Reload. Yes. Okay, well, we appear to be back. I was on Firefox. I did the intro over on Firefox, and I had no problems, and then suddenly my camera disappeared, just like it just did. And it wouldn't, I tried to get back in, and the computer acted like it didn't want to run the camera. So I came over here to Google, got everything set up to go. We were ready to rock and roll, and boom, again, my browser lost the video feed for the camera. So I had to restart. So it's going to be one of those days. I'm really glad that Mercury retrograde is ending on Monday. That's all I can say. It's been like a month of hell. Absolute mitigated hell. Anyway, on a happier note, my name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I hope I'm still here. You never know the way things are going tonight. And you can see, it's really choppy. I don't like Google. I hate Google. I've hated Google for years, and I don't like working off Google. That's why I use Firefox. Anyway, so if I get a little choppy on the screen, it's because I'm on Google. Anyhow, hopefully I'll be on for the next hour with Medium Nancy Matz, so we can get through our show. But in the event that I won't be on camera, well, I'm just going to do restarts, and we'll just have to play around with it because I don't like Google Chrome, the show. Anyway, welcome everybody. I want to welcome all of you to the show. We have a great show lined up for you today. First, I have some announcements. I have quite a few announcements, actually. But my name is Charlotte. I'll be your host next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal need, we can get you. It might take us a while. I got to run my little thingy here. Hang on. Okay. It might take us a while. I'm pushing buttons and just going for it today. Okay. Again, it might take us a while. Who do we have in the chat room? Marisa, hello. But we can get out to you. In the case that it does take us a couple days to get out to you, because California is a huge state, we do have mediums on staff, like Nancy, who can do a pre-read. And sometimes if they're talking to you on the phone, they can sometimes calm the energy down before we get out there. Because that helps you. And then by the time we get out there, everything's calmed down, so we're able to do our job. It's because we don't want you to live in fear or anything like that, okay? That's why we do that. Okay, that being said, if you need to find us, check out all the social media networks. We're everywhere. If you're watching from Facebook tonight, here's examples. If you're watching from Facebook tonight, and a lot of you are, and you haven't done so already, and you like what you see in here tonight, please feel free to hit that follow button. We'd really appreciate it. Also, show us some love. Thumbs up, happy hearts, those weird things that remind me of the Vulcan greeting, or happy faces, or whatever. Just show us some love. Chat amongst yourselves in the chat room. There's Maurice in the chat room. And what that does is that puts us up higher in the FYP at Facebook, and that's what they call I Love My Chair. Halloween's coming, so this is going to factor in a lot. Anyway, like when I read on Sundays and they open a casket, Dracula's casket, or they open a door to one of the buildings. I do this, right? Give you guys a little music thing in the back, sound effects. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. What it does is it puts us up higher and it gets the attention of the master computer at Facebook. And if you look down at your Facebook page, about midway down, you'll see the reels. And then what you'll see is the stuff that comes a little below that. And that's where you get suggestions. They may suggest people that you might be interested in. They may suggest different groups that you might be interested in. That's the FYP. That's what they call the For You page. Okay. So the more you chat, the more you comment and all this stuff, the more the computer sees us and puts us out there. In the meantime, if it's not doing that, I'd like you to share. You know, if you're one of those people out there that like to watch the show but not be in the chat room, that's fine too. But just be sure to share us. We're trying to build up our numbers, and be sure to share us. Same thing with YouTube. I've got more than 1,000 videos sitting over there, all of this show, all different topics. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We're building that up as well, and share that feed as well. Okay, and leave us a happy face. Same thing. Basically, all these social media places work the same. The only one that's a little weird is TikTok, because in order to like on TikTok, you have to either tap the screen or double tap the screen for TikTok. Otherwise, they all pretty much work the same. But we're not on TikTok tonight. We are on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Okay, with that being said, some quick announcements. I was out working in my yard today, and I haven't been out there in a while. As you guys know, I've been having issues with pain management doctors and all this stuff. So I finally got to a place where I've been level and I can actually go out and work in my yard. Plus it wasn't 800 degrees outside. And I got in there and I'm walking around with like hiking sticks, because I've got, I originally did a lot of yard work back in June and July, and I ended up leaving it because, like I said, I was going through issues. And then I got hurt, I hurt my head and all that. So it's been about a month since I've been out there. So some of the stuff that I have already cut is all dry, but it's piled up. So I don't want to fall. Okay, so I'm out there with like a hiking stick poking down to see where I can walk out there to make sure I don't fall. Anyway, I was picking up my shears, putting on my gloves, and I see this beautiful orange tabby cat walk out of my shed. Why is this significant? I got excited because the original kitten that we found in the yard that started me on taking care of ferals back in the day, back about 5 years ago, was an orange tabby kitten. And so we named it Harry because that royal wedding coming up with Harry and Meghan. So we named him Harry. And he was a curious little guy. He wasn't very friendly, but he was very curious. We would go out and have barbecues or sit by the fire at night, and he would be off in the corner sitting in one of the flower pots watching us. So he's always curious. Anyway, he got into a cat fight, and we ended up taking him to the vet, and had that taken care of, had him neutered. I caught him in the backyard. I was taking care of him around like January of 2020, and he lunged at me. And so I backed off the cage door, and he took off. And so that's the last time I saw him. And so I thought, well, wow, I wonder what's up with him. I figured he was gone forever. I figured maybe he got hit by a car, or the wound that was still healing, because he got in that cat fight and the wound was really big on the side of his head. And I thought, well, maybe the wound took him out, because I was going to take him back to the vet to get him more shots, to take care of the wound. So I didn't see him. But today, I thought, oh my God, it's him. He comes walking really sauntering like he owns my yard, right, out of my shed. And so I called his name. He turned to look at me, and then he sat down and he stared at me for like another 3 or 4 minutes before he got up and left. So I know definitely it was Harry and the clipped ear and all that. So it's kind of exciting when that happens. I had that happen with another one from that same litter who came in that I called Creamy. Beautiful, beautiful white cat. But it was really, it was shocking to see Harry, because I thought he had gone to roll the ferals going in this neighborhood, yeah. So that was kind of cool today. So maybe I'll get to see him again at some point. So I know he's living here, obviously. He came back. Okay, Patreon. We got stuff going on at the Patreon. For people that are Patreon members, there is a pre-recorded show over there that you can see. It's going to be available until Wednesday. And then I'll be putting it out here. It'll be showing up on this feed. So you guys have about a week at your convenience to read that. And plus, there's going to be some other stuff coming up on the Patreon. Like I said, I'm going to be launching that new show. And the first run through the show will be for Patreon members. And then I will release it to the public. And I might just do a public show of that for people that aren't Patreon members, to see what kind of interest we can gauge on it here on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. So I might be running that test to do that show. So I was hoping this weekend, but it won't be till next weekend, because I have a bunch of stuff to do right now. Next, I do have a list. I have a newsletter available, and I'm going to get it out. I'm going to update it, and I'm going to you guys can sign up for a monthly newsletter about California haunts. But it's not just about my team; it's about what we're doing. True, but we're going to be since we've already pretty much written the first one, I don't even have to do anything to it. It's going to cover a haunted location that you can visit on your own, right? Someplace that's open and access to the public, that you will be able to go in on your own. Okay, and it may be a place that we've investigated, so we can tell you what we can tell you what to look for or what to do, and it may not be a place that we've investigated. But I'm going to be putting that on there. We're going to have equipment reviews of newer paranormal equipment on there, especially since I got this big bunch of equipment, right? So we're going to be doing that on there, and I already have one up on. Like I said, I already have one completed. It just didn't happen because life happened. So that's going to be coming out. I'll let you guys know. And yeah, the other thing, I'm going to be having this meeting with my team. We're going to get back out there and start doing ghost hunts. Hopefully, some public ghost hunts. Stuff we can film so you guys can watch. And I'm going to start doing in October. I'm going to try and get us out in the media there to get our name out there, so you might see us on TV or hear us on the radio. So I'm working on that project right now. Plus, we're going to do, I think, 1 or 2 October ghost hunt events here in this area. Between where I live, Sacramento, the foothills, Gold Country, and the Bay Area. I'll pick a couple of places, and you can come along on these ghost hunts. Okay. Either virtually or you're going to be able to come along physically. Okay. For the people that are members of the Patreon, they're going to get a 10% discount on these ghost hunts. But I'm talking like 6-7 people on these ghost hunts to come out with my team, and we're actually going to go to a haunted location. You can use our equipment, all that good stuff, and we'll teach you how to use it, and you can come on a ghost hunt with us. So we're going to be doing that, and I'm hoping to have that as a monthly thing, at least 1 to 2 public ghost hunts, probably 1. So I'm hoping to do that monthly. So there's a lot going on right now. I'll be coming back. I will be hitting up TikTok. You're going to see more TikToks and more reels coming out as well. I just hit my 3,000th my 3,000th follower on TikTok. So I think it's time to really start doing some stuff over at TikTok and try to get subscribers and all that going. So you're going to see a lot more going on via around TikTok and all that. All right, this was a long intro. I apologize, but I had a lot to say. And thank God Mercury retrograde is going away on Monday, because God knows it has to, or I'm going to lose my mind. There's been too much. Like, today was a great day until I got in here, and then the computer started to act up, or the camera started to act up. So there I was, flying along, as they say. All right. Anyway, you'll also be seeing an ad. I haven't done it yet. It's going to be like an in video ad for the for come on over to Patreon. I'm also considering, for those of you that are uncomfortable with Patreon, I'm also seriously considering a membership over a membership over at the meetup. And that would be like $5 a month, maybe $5.50 like the Patreon, to be a member of the meetup. That way you can stay apprised on everything we're doing. Because come January, meetup is going to jump from $23 a month to $45 a month. So it's going to be to the point where I can't afford to support the meetup. So what I would need from that is dues, from you guys for the meetup. So we'll see. I'm playing around with that idea. Okay, that being said, Nancy Matz is waiting patiently, and let's bring her in. We might have a short show tonight. We don't know yet. Nancy's not feeling well, so we'll see how that goes. Hello, Michelle. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's bring Nancy in.
Good evening, everybody. Friday night, everybody's on internet and watching TV, so we'll see how my line goes. Earlier, it was cutting out a lot, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as feeling better, I didn't think she would mention this, but the weather has been really hot, and I think I might have gotten overdone. I spent a lot of time on the computer. I think I wore myself out. So, but tonight, so when Shaw wrote me a note the other day, she says, "What do you want to talk about Friday night?" And it came to me so quick. I wonder who's talking to me sometimes. So tonight is, what are you afraid of at night in the dark? That's more or less what it was. Shar has a better remembrance of what the title was. And how many times do we spend out in the neighborhood walking? I walk at night, 9 and 10 o'clock. Darker the better, because I like looking at the stars. And as I walk, even though I'm in a neighborhood, you wonder, is there a dog loose or car running too close to me as they pass in the street? And it's all conjectured fear from watching TV, reading the newspaper, and things that happen to other people. And I've heard over the decades, we had a murder in the family, or there was a death that just 2 days ago, somebody talked to me, and I talked to the family, gave messages of who grieved a loved one, and the child was only 20. So why do bad things happen all the time? It just, it sets us with fear. And
Hmm.
then when you say, well, what caused the death? And then that's the unknown. And it never seems, listen to this. Must be the weather. Anyway, so tonight, I'm not sure how to, I was born with my tongue attached to my jaw and they was, oh, that happens a lot. Well, like mine had to be cut all the way, not just clipped. And I've always had a little bit of a lisp, but it was real hard for me to learn French. I should have had sign language. So these words that sometimes come up and I have to go, well, I'm going to spell it for you. I typed a lot of this up and then it occurred to me, well, get online and see what else I have. And I found a website, healthline.com/health/nycophobia, NYCTOPHOBIA, nighttime nycophobia. Well, why not, right? And it's what people would say was extreme fear of night or darkness. And I've actually known people that are afraid of the dark. And I've known clients. It's been a really long time. I can't hardly remember, but it seems like someone was afraid of nighttime. And usually these go back to childhood trauma or drama. When people
Hmm.
talk to me about issues in their life or a problem with their spouse, sorry, everybody. Um, I usually can go to an age when there's a psychological era, time frame when there was damage. One, this is what the two drive weather does to older people. Anyway, so and sometimes over time, I'm dealing with another client that got caught on fire at a restaurant, and it's been 2 years, and they're finally just getting a trial. And he said, "I feel so much better. I'm not scarred too bad." Blah, blah. And I said, every time you talk to me, you bring it up. He talks to me a lot. And I says, PTSD is a terrible monster. We think we're okay. And then as the years go on, it creeps into our unconsciousness and
Hmm.
creates another level of unidentified fear. And what happens is that fear is like a spider. It can weave itself into a lot of different directions. So I have a client who lives in Auburn, California, and ex-spouse of hers who she was very close to even after they got divorced was in a car accident. And so this car accident was an accident created by the man's best friend. So there was a identity too close. It wasn't like a stranger. It was like close.
Hmm.
And this friend, I just adore her, a client friend. And she found out within 6 months she couldn't drive on the freeway. And we talked about it. And I says, is it possible that your PTSD, your fear, is bleeding over into your normal everyday life? Oh, no, no, no. Of course you don't want to admit to that. And I started talking to her about it, and the fear of nighttime was even more pronounced. Like she couldn't go out and do anything because of fear of driving. You turn your headlights on, you cannot always see the trauma drama that is playing out all around you.
Hmm.
Was probably 2 weeks ago, a couple who had been married only a few hours had in the car the mother-in-law, the husband's mother-in-law, the wife's mother, and somebody else with a child. And on the other side of the freeway, one of those big haulers with pipes like you've seen with wood, like cutting down the trees in the forest and they pile them up.
Hmm.
Well, this cargo thingy with pipes, the brace broke and the truck fell over, and all those pipes went onto the other side of the freeway and crashed their car, and three people were instantly killed. And that couple that got married, they was only married for a few hours. The unknown, the fear of the unknown. Luckily, hopefully, it was very fast, but it sets up in our lives a level
Hmm.
of unidentified fear. You may forget about this, what I'm telling you. Everybody can Google it. A couple married 3-4 hours gets killed with mother-in-law. Their child, a year old, survives. So if you Google that, you're going to find out it was about a week ago. And it's kind of like, how do you, so I'll show another one. So 92, 93 are on there. I talked about this before. Couple living near Shar, American River Drive, Watt Avenue. They wanted an appointment for Friday or Saturday, and the gentleman was just having a terrible schedule. And he says, well, it was for Monday. And he says, I'm just
Mhm.
having a terrible time. Let's come in. I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday. And he come in and he says, my schedule, who's a hardworking man, 45, 55 age group. And we got talking. It was about the business. It was about his wife. But when it was all done, he says, curious, I had questions. You answered them, but you didn't talk about me. And I says, it could have been because the session was for the wife, because she's going to get more involved with this business. The
Mhm.
next day, Saturday, it was Friday, he talked to me Saturday, a tanker truck made a too tight of a turn coming off of White Avenue, those clover leaf things, came around, tipped over, slid where he was standing in his yard, crushed him and blew up, ran into him and it blew up.
Mhm.
Google that, it's legitimate. I'm not clever enough to make things like that up. Who would think of this? His wife
Mhm.
calls him and he said, my husband's was killed on the week last Saturday. I go, wait a minute, Saturday? We talked on Friday. She says, you never talked to him. You never addressed him. And I woke up, it was like, wow, let me think that one through. And so over the years, I'm not going to talk about that tonight. You wonder about free will and predestination and the outcome of people's lives. Where is the story going? Well,
Mhm.
when I get on the road, guess what I'm afraid of? Tanker trucks and things like big tanks of gasoline, and those
Mhm.
that are carrying large logs. Another accident, Highway 50, I believe it was, a motorcyclist gang, not Hell's Angels necessarily, but a group of people. And another tanker truck had come over and killed two different motorcycle peoples. And that was on Highway 50, probably 20 some years back.
Mhm.
So, in some ways, those things create phobias in our lives. And I call them the invisible, the unconscious visible, invisible. And I also address them in your life as a white feather you hold up in front of you. It bends over so slightly every time you talk on it, whisper to it, poof, poof, and it bends over. Well, our unconscious mind does that to our conscious thinking processes. If there is a blip or wound and you're addressing something that comes too close to that, it will bend over. So that's the thrust of what we are talking about tonight. I have a lot of things to talk about, plus some movies I have on the shelf that I could access right away. Um, I think the idea for the show tonight did not necessarily come from Shara's. You would think, oh, Shara's talking about campfire stories, and I haven't listened to any. I will eventually. But I believe it about 2 weeks ago, I didn't own taxes from last year. It's been a miserable year for me too. And I was cleaning, and I came across a movie, and it is really scary. And it's called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. And I just don't know if you can see this. There you can a little bit. There's a cover. Whoops. There it is. Don't be afraid of the dark. And it's about a woman who marries a man who has a child. And they find this wonderful big house. And it's
Mhm.
2 stories up and 1 story down. In the basement is a fire, what they call the furnace. And it's clearly it's never has been used in decades. And the little girl's hearing voices, and she goes down and talks to the people on the other side of the grade. Let me tell you, please, everybody, get the movie, rent it, watch it. It's like the unseen, the unknowing. Oh yeah, right. So I came across that I think a couple weeks back, and that kind of resonated with me because I want to think, oh, maybe I should watch that movie again. Or maybe I don't want to, but it it did get my attention. I don't frighten very easily. I talk to spirit people all the time. You think that would be, oh no. So that necrophobia is an extreme fear of night or darkness that can cause intense symptoms of anxiety and depression. The anxiety and depression, not necessarily my fear of big tanker trucks. It's more likely a cautionary tale to be wary. But there are people that if they're caught in unexpected darkness, I walk at night and I don't know if it's me or the timing, but overhead lamps seem to go out. And it's not like everyone, but enough. I pay attention, right? Like the movie
Mhm.
Constantine, where at the beginning of the movie, when the detective's sister has just committed suicide, they walk along the street and also all the lights go out. Well, what a memory I have, right? Anyway, so it goes out, and I'm standing there in the dark thinking, well, aren't you supposed to click on when someone walks under it? So even I can be unnerved. I'm unnerved because we have skunks in our neighborhood, and I have almost come across, walked in front of them, and the last thing I want to do is get sprayed. So I have a legitimate issue, but you never know when the dog's loose or someone's hiding in the bushes. So I don't want to set up
Being in
fear
the area, real quick,
until
being
I
in the
don't know.
area where you live,
Hmm?
Marysville,
But
that area, Marysville is famous for having skunks that mating season. They're
I'm
everywhere.
in Oroville. I'm in Oroville,
I was just saying,
so we're in
just
the
kind of
foothills.
like that region. Yeah, that region.
Sort of. So I'm a couple of an hour away. Um,
Just
we're in
saying.
the foothills. Yeah, we have a lot
Yeah.
of open vegetation around here. And then we had someone put a hotel in um, down a couple blocks over, and we have a lot of skunks. And it's kind of like crazy because we have a lot of cats too. And
Hmm.
we can see them walk across the street at night. I saw one mama dragging her baby skunk across a big street. They're not narrow streets of the, subdivision wide. And I was looking at this skunk going, oh, that's not a cat. I'm staying right here. Anyway, that's it. Uh, being afraid of the dark often starts in childhood and is viewed as a normal part of development. I
Hmm.
really don't like that. I am aware because I read a lot and I understand this that the only natural fear we have when we're first born is that of falling. Um, and you would think it'd be starving or not having nourishment. It doesn't. It's a fear of falling, and if you do drop a newborn just even a couple inch, half an inch, they'll flare with their arms up and like, and then tense up. That is a genuine born fear. I guess I would think a newborn would be afraid of tight places, It's being wrapped up real tight, but no, it's the fear of falling. Um, Studies focus on this phobia have shown that humans often fear the dark for its lack of visual stimuli. Okay, so in scientific and count uh, environments, they often put you in a tank of water to see how you deal with the all absence of stimulus. That's one of
Hmm.
those viewing issues but I've also heard those people are afraid of the dark because you close them in. It's one thing to lay in the water and see if you can get rid of all the stimuli and see what your mind creates. It's another thing to be in the dark. So if you had a little baby light, something, would they feel the same way? I saw that study. The other one that is people like myself have been tested by the government and other situations, and they put them in what they call the soundproof room. And I wasn't
Hmm.
aware of that, but people cannot handle a soundproof room more than 10 to 15 minutes and they go kind of insane because all
Hmm.
stimuli has been absolutely removed. Also, they're in the dark most of the time. So someone could challenge me on that. But what I've heard of the studies, for them to have absolute quiet to see how your mind works, a lot of times the light is turned off. We cannot handle absolute removal of any sound with the dark because we can't tune into a safety space for ourselves. We can't figure out how we're sitting and where the walls are. They're going to not move, but our mind won't let us think differently. That's very, very interesting. In other words, people may fear night and darkness because they cannot see what's around them. And I just said that. Um, the rest of us learn from experiences or the reaction of others. That's absolutely true. If you go to a movie where there's a walk-in movie where you have more people and there's a lot of scary scenes and people jump up and get screaming, you're going to be watching why they're screaming and scream again. That is catchy. We follow the herd mentality and we will get upset. And one of the first times that ever happened to me is in the 70s, late 70s. My husband took me to see Jaws. And I already told you we didn't have TV until I was 12. And my husband and I went to college and we, I think a TV we had was like 12, 15 inches across. It was black and white. We just didn't watch a lot of TV. Now, when I was pregnant with my daughter in 69 and my son in 73, we did have a TV. It was black and white. Um, but we really didn't have the movies. We had three channels to choose from. So we didn't get, like, my husband watches all the cop shows,
Hmm.
and all the fighting. He's exposed to that a lot. And to him, it's not anything drama. I go in there and I see these young men who've trained just trained and then they get beat up, and I'm standing there. Oh, I can't watch. The fear of watching a young man get beaten so badly they pass out doesn't appeal to me, but I'm a woman, so there you are. So the fear of watching someone get hurt. Well, Jaws did that to me. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
The fear that audience radiated was amazing. And at one point, I got so excited, upset, I had to leave the room for a while. My husband stayed where he was, and he looked at me like he never knew me before we got married. And we got married in '67. It's a long time ago. We got married in '67, and here it was the '70s, mid '70s. Someone will have to Google Jaws to see when it came out. And he looked at me like, "You're afraid?" It didn't even occur to him. I was just, and it was the unknown. It was that ocean that was dark at night, and the girl was swimming, and it came up from
Mhm.
underneath. Oh, hello. The unknown of capturing a young child on a surfboard. He didn't know, and the audience was yelling, "Please get off the surfboard! Come in, come in, come in!" Now we watch things called the MEG, about a whale 40 feet, 50 feet long. Oh well, isn't that fun? It's 4 times bigger than a normal shark, 10 times bigger. So we're getting dumbed down, and uh, I don't want to make it sound like that. We're not dumbed down. We get used to it. We become
Mhm.
numb to it. But we still, if I said, "Have you seen the movie Jaws?" Well, if you're going to the ocean the next day, let me tell you, you're going to be looking at the water real carefully because that fear now has been reintroduced to you. And
Mhm.
then the darkness of the water, you really don't know what's coming. No. Went to Hawaii in October '87, and we were there, and I can't remember what it was. It was something that looks like a starfish, I think. Anyway, it burned my leg, and I never saw it. And Shar, do you remember what that's called? Man, no, just
It's not a
escaped me.
man
But
of war.
anyway,
It's just
and
kind of. I
something,
got stung by something similar when I was in Hawaii.
yeah, in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it really got hold of my leg, and the young man that we were with got a scrub brush and put soap on it and scrubbed my leg, and it was all bleeding. It was just a mess. I was absolutely, and it was so painful. Well, now I don't want to go in water if that's around. The fear has kept with me, the phobia of the unknown, and I couldn't see it. So in the waters, I couldn't see it. So that's kind of like in the dark. You're in the dark, not
Mhm.
literally, figuratively.
Mhm.
Fear of darkness at night often starts in childhood between the ages of 3 and 6. A lot of wounds when I talk to my clients are 4 to 5. Why, I don't know. I think at 6 years old, we step out of babyhood. At three
Mhm.
years old, I don't know if we always remember, but 4 and 5, absolutely. And 2, 3, 4 is the years. If you talk to a child that tells you of past lives, and I do just love the Facebook um, sites that I look at, verification of children's past lives, just wonderful stories, everybody. Um, and so you'll hear of mommy and daddy, there's something underneath my bed, there's something in my closet. It's not that
Mhm.
they know somebody's there.
Mhm.
Somebody has either they remember I didn't have TV or books that scared us or newspapers that came out of terrible things like we hear about plane crashes 10 minutes after it happened. So this plane that had 68 people, there was cameras and phone cameras out watching this plane fall from the sky. Do you think those people who took those camera pictures are going to get on a plane in the future? Mm-mm. No, no. I don't I don't worry about that because it's going to be quick. But a
Mhm.
wonderful movie that came out, I was going to mention it later, is the movie, and I really encourage you to watch it. It was wonderful. It's called Passengers. Can you see that? Passengers with a plane crash in it. I'll discuss it more. It's wonderful, but the plane fear of flying can be terrible. And a lot of times in the past more so than the last few years, I'll interview a lot of people, but I'll talk to a lot of groups of people. And if anybody asks me things where I can project, especially if there's travel, I will read years after that. And I'll say, no, you get on the plane, you're the only one that knows that you're going to come back because I see years and years ahead of you. as I do myself. So when I went to Boston with my family members, I got on the plane and I knew there were other people in that plane that we were flying with that were very anxious and nah, not me. I just knew it. And we had turbulence and we had to sit still and we had to have it buckled in. We could not
Mhm.
move because the plane was and I was just watching the whole I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let's experience this, you know. And so children are afraid of things introduced to them at an earlier age. So even up to 10 and 11, they can be afraid of ghosts. They can be afraid of imaginary monsters that they can create, whether it's from Marvel magazines or cartoons on TV, SpongeBob fighting so and so critter, and the child looks at it and says, "Oh, those things real? Is that going to be in my bedroom under my bed?" Children have a hard time sleeping alone. Get a lot of there's stuffed animals out now that you have heartbeats and all other things like
Mhm.
that. And if they were to have mama's voice say, "You're okay, honey, go back to sleep," all they do is clutch it and it says it over
Mhm.
and over. Wouldn't that be very satisfying to a youngster who's afraid to be alone in the dark
Mhm.
and worried what ghosts and monsters with them? What a terrible way to live. This girl, mother, I told you this story before. The girl was having trouble. She's 9 or 10 years old. And the mother called me up and I went, oh, fudge, that's not imagination. There's actually somebody in the closet. And I saw someone's tall, lean, dark clothes on. Of course, that's going to scare a child. Hello.
Mhm.
Not he's short and chubby, he was tall and he had dark clothes on. And I told the little girl, I says, if he came to the front door, how would you feel? Would you let him come into your bed? Mama, would you let him come into your child's bedroom and stand in front of the closet and scare your child at night? And the child and the mother went, never occurred to us. I says, okay, then you get mad at him like he's at the front door and you don't want him in the house. You don't want him in the hallway. You don't want him in your child's
Right.
bedroom. Guess what happened? That little girl got really mad. And when the next night came, she said, you get out my yelling at this man. What were you in my bedroom? Get out of the house. You're just lying, this skinny little thing with her hands on her hips. Yeah, you have power over what scares you the most. And what is unknown is hard to know, but you are the one in power of your life. Now,
Mhm.
the ladies that talked to me about the young man that died, listen, I I'm very emotional when it comes to that because I don't want anybody in my family to pass away. My father got killed by a drunk driver when he was only 33, just barely on the brink of making his life. And so I know what loss is. I know what my mother went through, single
Mhm.
parent, had virtually nothing, bounced around family for a little bit, household to household, it was another family's. And so I know what that does to families. It tears them apart. And so I'm very conscious of that, but also at the idea that I've talked to a lot of people. I give them a lot of future. It comes true,
Mhm.
scary, responsibility. Say it with dignity. Don't hurt another soul when telling something unfortunate. I can't tell you of a death. If I don't bring that person up for 2 or 3 times in a session, does that mean that person's gone? No, it could move
Mhm.
away. We cannot stop the destiny of someone who's going to leave. So
Mhm.
we all have some sort of fear also of the unknown for our family members. And that's also innate. Okay, so what about strange noises? Yeah, that happens a lot. So we have a lot of trees here and we have a lot of squirrels. Oh my gosh. And they can take off going across the roof and then you hear the cats running after the squirrels and you can hear that. And no dogs, just a cat. You can hear the patty, and then you can hear the squirrels go up the trees and across the house and to the other tree. It's hilarious. I didn't know it at first. It was only squirrels. I couldn't identify it, and then after a while, well, Nancy, you should know better. There's a difference between what we call a ground squirrel going up a tree and what we call
Mhm.
what they roof rats and roof squirrels. We have the
Right.
squirrels, we don't have the roof rats. But roof rats are really big, and that's what I was thinking about. Not because
Mhm.
of Char, but because I'd heard about them before. So strange noises is also because we create visuals for the strange noises. And that's part of our fear packaging as a youngster. And as a youngster, you'll carry that PTSD, that fear throughout your life unless you identify it and say, no, no. And I had to do that with my business because when I started this, I was talking to spirit people and I went, oh hum, oh hum. So
Mhm.
what after a while it got to be, oh, you want to talk to dead people? Okay, let me find them. But when I entered a house that was haunted, because I put my mind to it, I can see them, I am safe. So when I started 30 years ago to other places, locations, like a graveyard, Camille and I went to a graveyard and there were spirit people there, and I went, hmm, there are people walking around in here. Like, and who are you? And why are you here? But I really didn't know if I was safe. Well, 33 years I've been doing this. I have never, ever been hurt by a spirit person. That doesn't mean they haven't attached onto me. And I went to Boston Commons and saw that Quaker girl. And I looked at her and I had that feeling of fudge. I looked right in her eyes. Oh my gosh. And she looked at me like, oh my gosh, she can see me. So if you have a chance to see the movie Ghost Town, where the dentist goes in for a colonoscopy and he accidentally is dead for a couple minutes. And he leaves the hospital and he goes home and he comes back next day to his job as a dentist. And he leaves and he looks at people in the street. He's kind of, oh, hello, nice day. And they turn around and go, oh, they can see me. And so his life was forever changed because of a colonoscopy. Now he sees ghosts. And they're so appreciative. They go, oh my God, a human being, a living human being, and
Mhm.
they start clamoring around him. And that's what happens with me. So I've always told you that my husband here in Orville, when we moved here in 2020, he bought the house in 2020. I did move down for a year and a half because the other house hadn't sold. And he took me to 3 cemeteries, drove by. He said, I just want, and I went, oh no, there's people in there. If I can see them form, that means they haven't dissolved into into a mesh of nothingness, because at that point they start going insane. But if they're formed like the Quaker girl, that means they're actively searching, seeking, looking all the time. And if I look at them and see them eye to eye, they're like in the movie Ghost Town. They go, oh, hello. She can see us. And then they move really close to the
Mhm.
car. This happened to Char's mother. They want an investigation. And mom was in the car. It wasn't hot. She had the window rolled down. And one time Char says, she went out, Mom, how are you doing? And she says, well, this guy, Char, if you want to share that story, this guy was talking to her. And then there was another time a Chinese man was on the hood of her car.
Yeah, yeah.
I really liked your mom. She was just so honest. It
She
was a
was fun,
wonderful
and
experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
she spoke. She did they ever come over and talk to her? And I remember this one particular house. It was an old Native American woman came to talk to her, the spirit of a Native American
Oh, I
woman.
love it.
So she was very open to stuff. If, the older you get, the more your abilities come out. You start seeing stuff.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I know she had Alzheimer's, but this was not Alzheimer's. This was her physically seeing stuff, and it was fun. And I remember doing the Murphy's Hotel. We were getting ready to do a little conference over there, and Sharon, the shaman, comes in. And she says, "You're not going to believe this, but all the ghosts are in the parking lot. They're coming towards the room." Because the Murphy's Hotel not only had the old timey rooms, but they also had a new set of rooms for guests that didn't want to pay, because of extra money to stay in the old timey rooms. So they were all coming over to see my mom. So my mother was funny. And one
I
more.
don't know if it's because, go ahead. Sorry,
This one
sweetie.
particular
They came
hotel,
over and talked to
I see
mom.
her making faces. And I walk over there. She's in her wheelchair. And I said, Mom, what are you doing? She says, that cowboy over there is really cute.
I remember
And
this.
I said,
I
what
don't get,
cowboy?
I've seen cowboys, I think it was the same hotel, and I
Yeah.
saw a card table game going on, and they're just dirty, ugly guys
She
in
got
the
a good looking
western,
one.
you
So
know.
she's flirting with him. And then I looked at her and I said, Mom, you don't know what that would do to you. Don't, don't be flirting with things like that. But she was actually, moving her face and trying to pretty herself up to talk to this cowboy. And it's fun. It was
Well, I said, why not? I Anyway, I was going to make a statement like as we get older, do we become more intuitive? I think that the barriers we put up as younger people, we don't care
fun.
as much.
Hmm.
I do color my hair. Most people my age would never do that. It's just that I
Mhm.
feel better about myself by doing
Mhm.
that because I have really black and white hair. It's just, to me, it doesn't fit who I am. But anyway,
Mhm.
um, do I get more intuitive as I've gotten older? I would say so, but it's after being this way, I've been actually doing this job every day for 33 years. It's like learning how to play piano. I I don't know. Some days I'll call my friends up. I'll go, I just got something and I can't believe it. Am I insane? They go, oh my God, I can see it with you. So you're not, you just picked up something. Anyway, it is what it is. So I want to go on. For many children, sleeping with a night light helps them outgrow that fear of the darkness of being alone. Yeah. Did you? I
I
never
did, and I
had
still
this
have a light
issue.
on. I have the TV on. I have lights on. I do not like the dark. I'm a ghost hunter. Don't like the dark.
Honey, that's contrary.
It is,
Um,
but I just do not do the dark. I'm the one with the biggest bright light on my head when I'm walking through buildings. It
oh my
is
goodness,
what it
honey, we'll
is.
have to have a talk.
Yeah.
When the fear makes it impossible for a child to sleep, or causes severe anxiety, or continues into adulthood, it may be considered necrophobic.
Mhm.
Nyctophobia. So we're talking of the extreme, and I have talked to families, not because of the child issue, but they may bring it up. And I remember
Mhm.
this one child, we were talking, they said they solved this problem. And the child was actually dreaming of a past life. And so when I talked to the mom about it, I says, well, this is what you need to do. And I said, um, coloring is the best way, having a really fun lunch, very relaxed environment, and ask about the dreams. If they don't want to talk about it because it disturbs them, have them draw pictures. They need to talk about it, express their fear. If it is unfounded fear of monsters in the closet, then put a light in the closet. Do
Mhm.
something to feed because you don't want that child to grow up a man or woman and then
Mhm.
that person gets married and they have all these fears and it
Mhm.
will grow exponentially over decades because it's not been addressed. And a child with a fear will grow because it's never been satisfied or never been taken care of.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean they're going to believe you either. You could look under the bed every night, but you have to do something drastic like a light. And they say you shouldn't have a light on. The experts say best sleep at night is to have no light on. I I'm one of those. I like it dark. Maybe because I'm just not afraid of the dark. I don't
Mhm.
who's going to bother me, right? And I do admit to that. I wrote here as a kid, I was fairly courageous and nothing really slowed me down. I remember riding a bicycle, and I was one of those that got on the handlebars. I could balance the
Mhm.
bike with my arms. Um, I walking on the gym across the street, Monkey Bars and Shar. That was Arden Ridge Park. We lived during junior high and the summer before high school. And about 3 years. Geez, some of the things I away with. I had a boyfriend when we moved to Citrus Heights. I had a boyfriend down at let's see, where did he live? By Country Club Center before it was where Macy's was. He lived right around the corner. I used to walk from Citrus Heights there. What's that,
Mhm.
10, 15 miles? And then think anything of it. As a teenager, a freshman, sophomore. I don't know. Okay, so I just I just didn't have fear. As a kid, I was fairly courageous enough to slowed me down. If I had a scary, this is the point I was making. If I had any scary trauma, it was either either I didn't have anything or it was very, very deep. Now, I want to also admit, uh, trauma and drama. When my father was killed, my mother's only comment when Bruce's father, my father's mother, and her husband came to tell my mother this terrible thing that happened to her at night. And the only thing she said was, what am I going to do? I have no money. And it was terrible. She did not have any money. She ended up moving up to North Sacramento to her mother's house, a tiny, tiny two-bedroom. And it was pretty rough, pretty rough. And I heard that. And I'm a workaholic because of that. I won't ever have
Mhm.
to, I never want to get to a place of saying what my mother did. And that's traumatized me. I was only 6 years old when that happened. Now, how do you get over something like that? I'm clearly aware and I talk about that trauma. at the same time, now I realize that I'm the kind of person that likes to work. I like to be productive. I like to live on the edge of a cliff. I like what I do for a living because you kids
Mhm.
that pay me, you don't want me and allow me to be wrong. So my living on that crest of a cliff is very satisfying to me. Does that come from that? Um, possibly, possibly. But I think it also triggered in me a sense of I don't procrastinate. You can tell I'm tired. I I don't put anything off really. I try to do it. Char may have heard me say it took me a month to do taxes because I did everything I could not to do it, but that's because I don't like to do
Mhm.
that. I don't like doing paperwork. And if you're self-employed, it's a mess, which I wouldn't include. So there's that fear thing. Would you want to do a business on your own? The fear of the own, can you make it or not? And I tell people, unless you really don't really want to do it, I always encourage people to take the step of the path less walked, less traveled. I think there's a book out. Um, and it's because if you have a dream, you need to pursue it. You need to try it.
Mhm.
I was an engineering supervisor for Pacific Bell, making as much money as I ever need. Got divorced. I was in there for 2 years. I got into this. 2 years later, I left. And someone said, "Why did you do that?" I says, "Well, life's an adventure. It can be taken away from you anytime." I'd never had a thought of being self-employed, but I got into this. I was so intrigued. I wanted to explore it more, and I knew that as a supervisor, uh, job description is 60 plus hours a week. And I had 5 satellite offices that I was driving to all the time. It was very time consuming. So I left that because life needs to be lived. You need to try it. So people come to me and they say, "I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid." I says, "Listen, how many hours a day do you really believe in what you want? You want to open a donut store? You want to work 24/7 to make it a success? Can you do that? Do you want it bad enough? Then you'd put the hours in." And I've
Mhm.
said this to Shar too. You never stop until you're a success. And that's because you should be loving it. And I left engineering supervisor, become a professional psychic. No one can take a bigger leap than that. Absolutely not. 33 years later. Yeah, right? Um, and every day I'm intrigued. The fear is gone, not because I'm overconfident, it's because I love this so much. I surrender to the
Mhm.
information coming in. I have no fear. You need, if you get into what I do, you want to do like radio, I'm going to start my little radio show. I don't have the
Mhm.
fear of success because I have to say something. That I need to say is more important than my fear. Remember that, everybody. Okay, so I mentioned Jaws, The Dark Unknown, and the very first scene in that movie, please rent it just to watch the first 15, 20 minutes. It's this beautiful young woman going into the ocean. In fact, I think it was but within a year back, that young girl gets chomped up by the jaws coming up from underneath. They interviewed her, and she's a, you know, older woman now, and she says it was pretty exciting, but it was terrifying for the audience. Terrifying. And it just kept getting, I'm not going to ruin it for you. Don't be afraid of the dark. Why was that scary? Well, the child, the stepmother, the lady, um, Katie Holmes, who was married to
Mhm.
Tom Cruise, she is the mother, stepmother. And she really wants this young, about a 5-year-old girl to love her, to respect her, not to be a mom. You can't at that situation because they have a mom in the background. But she
Mhm.
wanted to believe that, "Oh, I'm playing and talking," so she let it go. One time, the daughter gets scared, and Katie Holmes goes down, and she can't see what the problem is. And then the suspicion that something else is going on in that house. There's something hidden, something unseen in the dark. Oh, yes, rent that, everybody. Get on. I have no idea where to find it. I guess you Google it on YouTube and see if it's there. If on Prime or something. Don't be afraid of the dark. Katie Holmes. Um, the movie Passengers, I really liked. It was about a psychologist, and she is waking in the morning by a mentor of hers that had a lot of trust in her and put her in charge of difficult cases. And he comes to her one day, he says, oh, there's a difficult case. There was a plane crash at the ocean, a seashore. And these survivors need your help. And she was scared because she was afraid that she would fail. And he talks to her and he says, you've had more experience than anybody. You're still in school. Go help these people. And in doing so, there's a mystery. And it's wonderful because she's helping them not discover why they're still here, because she understands later on they're actually ghosts of the passengers. But the fear of the flight of the crashing come up with some of the people involved. And so if I tell you too much, it'll ruin it. But it was wonderful. Another movie that I really liked, and this is something that comes up in conversations, is I'm Afraid of Ghosts. Now, when the little girl came and stuck on me, I called my friend Karen Rothstein. We're writing that book together. It's going to take a while because it just takes time. And we have the stories. I'm writing something else now. I will promise to get to this because it's really, really different. Anyway, this girl, I could feel her walking with me, and I went, I locked eyes with her, and then I took a picture of the area, and I promised her I'd send a picture, and I need to do that of her tombstone area. And I remember what she looked like, and I called Karen Rothstein, hypnotherapist, and the one I'm writing the book with. She's out of Roseville area. I said, "Oh, Karen, I think I picked up somebody along the way." And she started telling what she was seeing. I went, "Let me tell you." And she started screaming on the phone. She goes, "Oh my God, you got a Quaker girl on your back." I don't know if she was, but that unknown, anybody else would go, "Oh, fudge," fall apart. I got a what on my back? And it was like the young lady, and she looked really young. I would say 14 to 16 years old, waiting for her mom. I've had such sympathy when I do a ghost investigation or a remote view, and they can sense me coming into the room and feel the energy of shifted, and the energy. And I'm very compassionate, sympathetic, and I let them know I'm only there to help them. And many times I'm told not to. I imagine where we had lunch in a couple of places, uh, very old pub with sailing increments like from old sailing ships. I imagine the place was full of them. And I don't want to see it, I will not. And people say, oh, they walk around all the time. I says, yeah, if I want to pay attention. But then if I lock eyes
Mhm.
with anybody, I'm in trouble because I don't want it. I'm not scared of them. Are you kidding? These are human beings that are walking around because they're lost. They're just looking for somebody to lock eyes with. So
Mhm.
I am really, there's a lot of people really afraid, but if you go into it with compassion, remember, these are people without the jacket on.
Mhm.
They've come in from the cold. Visualize someone at the front door, and it's really, really snowy outside. It's been terrible for them. They've all been huddled in, and they can't just can't unravel themselves. You let them in the house, and you take the coat off. You put them in front of the fireplace. You let them warm up. These are the spirit people. That's what they want. They want to be comforted. They want to be listened to. They want compassion. They don't
Mhm.
want to be told that they're mistreated. Think of them as people, and then you'll see there's nothing to be afraid of. And all these years, I can't even think of somebody that's been hurt by one. Shar, if you've had injury, I can't remember. We've had hundreds of phone calls. So the movie I'm going to present to you is a real scary one. Very, very good. Very, very good. And I wouldn't show these to you if I didn't have them handy because they're ones that I'd like to watch again. And this is about a
Mhm.
spirit possession and a complete takeover. And Halle Berry was in it. And it's Goth. Can't even read it.
Oh, Gothica.
Goth. What is it called?
Gothica. It's a great movie. Yeah, it's Gothica.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Now this is scary. This is real
Yeah, that's a
scary about
scary movie.
possession. And she was unaware. And not that I'm setting you guys up for fear that will turn into
For
PTSD and haunt you forever. But I think sometimes when we watch things that are not real,
Mhm.
when you go places and do things, you'll say, "Oh, that's not real. That's not going to happen." You could have attachments all over you.
Mhm.
Rarely do they hurt you. They can influence you, but that's because they're needy. You're not needy. They need you. If you haven't sent somebody on there, just so one of my go-to shows, and I have a whole bunch of things like old things. I know there's wonderful comedians now. There's wonderful comedies. I can't even think of one really off the top of my head, but I always make reference to something I used to watch a lot. And through illness is Lauren Hardy.
Mhm.
Tell me, if you saw Lauren Hardy shoving a grand piano up 4 flights of stairs and then lose control of the piano, and I mean, I can't stop laughing just thinking about it. Some of them, and Carol Burnett. Oh, please. I got the whole like 5 years worth of shows that I watch was off and on. Carol Burnett made me laugh. You change your vibration. You don't watch a drama trauma with all kinds of terrible things in it and think a ghost is going to get off of you because they're that vibration of need and desperation. You watch
Mhm.
something the lighthearted and wonderful, they go, wait a minute, this feels good. What? Tell me about this. And then once I do that, if I felt someone around me, this happened years ago, and I talked to Karen, she says, oh, and I go, okay, I'll watch some little funny movies. And they fall right off because they have to match vibration with you to stay there. So when I do what it calls spirit, when someone steps into you, they're not
Mhm.
possession, but overlay. I call it like an overlay. That's because they want to talk to the person in front of me. I don't like that. It's like being in two people in one wetsuit. Brr, I'm stuck. Their eyes can be seen moving across my face. And I have some good stories about that. It happened a few times. One was in a group of people when a man stepped, like 90, 75 to 90-year-old skinny little guy, come over and he was sitting. There's a row of chairs to my right and all people were sitting them, and he would move from chair to chair, sipping down one out. And he got to me, he started getting into me and went, I saw you move from over there, 5 chairs, and then you want to get into me. And he slipped him real fast. I went, oh, no, you don't. I got moved and got up, and he fell right off. How dare he, this icky old man, what do you want from me? Give me the message. Don't have to step into me. But there are people who love to do that. Good, great.
I've taken more psychic
Let's
hits
keep
over the
going.
years. I have taken more psychic hits over the years than I can count on my hands.
Meaning, explain
From
that,
where
dear.
they've walked right through me, stuck to me.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
I'll be sitting
Hmm.
there like doing a post, with a client, and then all of a sudden my stomach flips. I know exactly what it is, and then I know I'm going to be down for a couple of days too. They want your energy.
I want, yeah. Half the people that you feel, and I do too, because I can go places and all of a sudden, oh man, I'll
Yeah.
get a hit, just ribs me, ugh, like that. And that's somebody unintentionally walking through somebody else.
Hmm.
If they're intentional, it doesn't feel quite the same. Usually, the more desperate a spirit person is, the more jazzed up or electrified their spirit is, the energy field,
Hmm.
because they're desperate is a bigger hit. So kind
Hmm.
of remember that. And if you feel that, kind of move away. They don't mean to do that. They may not even know that you're saying. They may be living their time in their environment.
Hmm.
Michael Keaton. I
Oh, hang
love
on.
this
There's a question.
Beetlejuice.
The
Where?
Michelle,
Oh,
does it hurt when they
that,
go through you? No, it does not hurt.
no.
All of a sudden, you're just sitting there and minding your own business, and all of a sudden, you just feel your stomach flip. That's it. It's like that sour feeling. It's a weird feeling. It's like your stomach turns, but it's kind of like a sour feeling that it
I
is.
want to say also, every human being, living, fleshed person,
Mm-hmm.
ones that keep are still breathing, as myself. Depending on the individual that walks through me or too close to me, I will do a
Mm-hmm.
complete shudder like that. It's like I shake a little bit, depending on
Mm-hmm.
what side. Sometimes someone will go
Mm-hmm.
through me and it catches my breath like that. Everyone is a little different, like every human being watching a show or listening RSS feed. Hello, everybody. I got the biggest kick the other day. Shark called me up and says, you know how many people in the first night? And I go, really? And it must be some of it RSS feed. So kids, listen, when someone walks through you or about you or near you,
Mm-hmm.
it can be different as you would go to a party and meet everybody there. Everybody's a
Mm-hmm.
little different. In the course of the evening, they may come too close or brush up against you. That's the same with non-fleshed individuals. Okay. Those people are just people like us. As long as you remember that, I have never heard of anybody, as in the movies, a spirit person picking up a hatchet and hurting somebody. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
If they attach to you, and you know that, then why are they attached to you? What do
Mhm.
they want of you? This little girl wanted her mama. I'm not her mama. Her
Yeah, I
mama's
went through
waiting
that.
for her.
Yeah, I
And
went through that on the
huh?
Queen Mary. I had that happen on the Queen Mary. I had a little girl run through me. First time it ever
Yeah,
happened to me.
yeah.
Marisa was with me, and she says, "You know what?
Unbelievable.
You look green." And I was like, "Green?" Because it is, like I said, the feeling. It's hard to explain, but there's a certain feeling in your stomach when it happens,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of like that feeling when you feel like you want to throw up, but you don't. But you can feel it moving in your stomach. It does a little
Yeah,
flip. Yeah.
it's really like, yeah, right.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
one of the fun movies that had a ghosty in it, there's a couple things of the unknown, was the Michael Keaton go Beetlejuice, the first one.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the young couple in the house, Alec Baldwin was the husband. Can't remember the woman's name right offhand, but how afraid they were when they discovered they were dead. But he was really fun because he was a ghosty with a purpose, and he felt like how he decorated his spirit as Beetlejuice was important to the job that he was trying to get hired for. And getting
Mhm.
hired to do a job would be to remove ghosts from homes because he could scare them by his visual.
Mhm.
Very complicated. So I heard that the second one is really fun. It's on my list of what movie do I get to see next, right?
Mhm.
So I already just Ghost Hunters in a Cemetery, the Poltergeist issue. Poltergeists are frustrated spirit people. That could be something I would call the unknown. You're afraid of ghosts already. Why are you in the cemetery? Why you live in a house that you encourage
Mhm.
that kind of activity? You see something thrown against the wall or in across the room, they're just trying to get your attention. Sit down and have a conversation. Oh, are you upset? Is there anything I can help you with? Can you give me a sign? To get somebody like us to talk to them. They are frustrated. They're frustrated. Can you imagine being, I can appreciate people who are deaf mutes. In our subdivision, here we have a young man, and he tries to talk to us. He has the hearing aid more than likely, but he
Mhm.
has no intimate, no one knows hand gesturing. And he talks, you can hardly understand because he can't hear. No one can understand. Can you imagine the spirit person? You can't see them, they can't be seen. How frustrating.
Mhm.
Well, they're going to throw things around your apartment if you got them upset. You're like, I'm afraid of you. Well, you are? Well, I got your attention. Maybe I get more attention. So
Mhm.
it's up to you not to allow fear because it is contagious. If you have fear of a spook, of a ghosty who's only trying to get your help, and other people
Mhm.
come home and go, "Oh my God, this is such a terrible thing," and they go, "Oh my gosh, it's a terrible thing." Guess what? Anybody that lives with them, they can't see because they're ghosties, will pick up the same vibe, and it is a contagious virus. One of the series of movies that really kind of, I, like I said, was the Conjuring series, and I guess there's 6 or 7 movies. I tell you, some of them were really, I'm not having anything against the Warners. They were absolutely the best at that time. But I also want to point out they're very Catholic, and the Catholic peoples do believe in demons. And so that
Mhm.
was part of their name of culture, their culture. I was married to a Catholic. I never thought of demons and never thought of anything like that, only because I
Mhm.
never saw them. Even as growing up, I could see people, but only when I wanted to. I felt the influences more.
Mhm.
Conjuring series, if you have a chance to watch any of them, Red Door was pretty scary. The Nun was really scary. That was part of them. And the wife, I guess, had someone in the family that was uh, an, it, I can't remember what they're called. They were not a nun yet. So
Right.
it goes back a couple generations. The Ghost Whisperer was the one that I would encourage people to watch if you have time because she was very um, civil to the spirit people. I always
Mhm.
wondered, and it was not based on any true stories, but whoever was the writers of the group probably knew somebody because some of the stories, as I remember, it's been years since I watched any of them, are like what I'd have to deal with. Like a little boy, the first of the series, if I remember right,
Mhm.
everybody. How do I remember these things, right? The first one was about a little boy who got killed at the railroad tracks, and he was looking for his mother. That is very common. It's very sad, but very common. And she helped bring the mother to understand the little boy's there. And of course, the mother didn't want to embrace that thought, and it upset the little boy. It can go around in circles. So if you want a little bit more information how to deal with cemetery or wayward ghosts and problems with ghosts, the kind of think that Ghost Whisperer is pretty good. I liked it.
Mhm.
Another one I never watched this series. I know what you did last summer, but I've heard people saying in the dark, the unknown, jumping from a closet. You need to watch
Mhm.
these things and have a good laugh. Look all the people in the world, how many times that would happen to somebody. Murder
Mhm.
does happen, crime happens. And I've already told you the story, and I have other murders I will approach and talk about over time with my own show. A woman alone, and someone came onto
Mhm.
her property and started beating her. And as she started
Mhm.
to lose fight, he drug her to a shed and started beating her to kill her, to molest her, which is a terrible situation. And I talked to the family, and I saw the woman's sister, a spirit person, come and said, "You don't have to be here for this. You can come with me."
Mhm.
And just reached out into her, just pulled her right out of her body. And she's standing there. She says, "No, you're going to watch this. We're going to leave." And the woman said, "How do you know she has a spirit, sister?" I says, "I could see her." And I described her. So it brought a lot of comfort to the family. We don't have to be there for our death. Again, this is really hard to hear, but I don't know what free will we have. I don't know if that was an agreement between the two of them that this is the way she was going to leave her body. As with the 20-year-old who donated all his body organs, and children received them. How do we know the boy said, "By the way, I'd like a short life. I want to be loved. I want to experience life. There's going to be an accident. I get to get out of my body, and then I get to give my body to all these kids that need me." I don't have answers. I don't have answers. I wish I could absolutely say we choose a life and this is how we want it, but I'm getting the sense we do. I sometimes look at how tough Shar and I are, our lives separately, because I've only known her since 96, 97.
Mhm.
Um, pretty tough, pretty tough. Yet I get to do this for a living. So the penalty is, the good stuff is this. The other side of the
Mhm.
coin is I picked a body not real healthy, and it's a
Mhm.
born this way kind of situation. So what I know what you did last summer is based on the idea that we do not know what's in the dark. We don't and can't anticipate the time we get to leave our body. It is frightening.
Mhm.
And when I saw a couple commercials of jumping out and scaring you just to see that trauma and drama you'll go through before you're killed. That's a terrible situation. I can't even imagine. And the last
Mhm.
one I'll bring up, and I saw clips of this, I did not watch it, but it was really scary. And at some point, when you're in a confined space and something terrible is going on, you cannot get away. It's called Snakes on a Plane. And we have to go to a place of realizing, did that ever really happen, or is that someone's really good imagination? I go to a place, like I said to you the other day, a couple of minutes ago. You're on an airplane. You're going to be on the airplane no matter what it does. You might as well enjoy the ride. If you're going to have snakes on the plane, roll your feet up underneath you. Someone else will catch it for you. So anyway, that's my story for tonight. I hope you enjoyed everything. I went a little longer. I'm surprised my voice did real good. I wanted to show you I'm drinking from the cup that says local woman named Cat Mother of the Year. So I'm a cat mom. All
There
my
you
kids are
go.
grown. I picked that cup for a reason. Love those. They're over here. I'm watching them play. And so anyway, have a good evening, everybody. Thank you, Shar, for having me on again. I'm always amazed how much fun this
Yeah,
is. It was a tough topic. I
it
thought
is.
to
And
myself, I
this
got
is our
into a tough one
this
here.
for this year, for this season. This is our 304th episode. Not you or
Between
mine,
you
but
and
I mean
me?
combination. I know, just for the whole show. 304 episodes.
Oh, that I've been weekly. Okay. So
Yeah.
you did 304. Well,
So
you told me the other day
it's
you had over 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, we got,
So you
it's
and
just
I have not
craziness.
done 300. We've done
No,
probably
no.
130.
Yeah. So the total for all the shows for this season is 304 right
Oh,
now as of
season.
today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the season. Yeah.
A year and a half,
So
I felt the other day, I thought, oh, I've got to update my site and move
yeah,
the shows I do with you to my channel.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
realized
We've
it's
got.
about 120, 125 at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's
There's a lot
kind
of
of
shows out
scary.
there. Yep. I'll be switching next month. We'll be starting over. We start in September. So we start doing season 5. But yeah, when I look at the numbers, I
Oh,
think, wow, that's a lot of shows. A lot of shows.
yeah, a lot of
And sometimes
shows.
it feels
I
like it.
think
Yeah, sometimes it feals like it, right? Hey guys,
they,
before you leave, I don't see any love in
oh,
there.
wait.
Show me some love. There's no love up there. No one's showing me any
Thumbs
love.
up, everybody.
Yeah,
If anybody wants to find me, read up on my testimonials or some things I've been involved with,
yeah.
nancymatzpsychic.com, nancymatzauthor.com, Nancy Matz Psychic at YouTube.
Hmm.
And I have some other sites, but I just don't have the time to keep them going, everybody. Those three keep me busy.
It's never
All
ending.
right, Shar.
Okay, tonight marks the start of Halloween at Disneyland. I encourage you guys. I know this is going to shift through. I encourage you guys to go on TikTok. I know you hate TikTok, YouTube or TikTok. Find somebody that's broadcasting live because it's going to be a very well. It'll be the second one because they did it during the day. But Mickey's not so scary Halloween party. But what I find really cool is one of the best costumes. Okay, Christmas time you get the toy soldiers that march, and those guys are cool because they can't move in those outfits. They put them in those outfits, and they look like
Who are you
blocks
talking
marching.
about?
Okay,
And
the
what
toy
group is
soldiers,
this called again? Oh, the
toy
Toy
soldiers at
Soldiers.
Disneyland that
Okay.
march. Yeah, it's fantastic to watch them because these things they put them in, they can't move hardly in them. So when they do their formation stuff, it's really cool. It's not like the guys in Star Wars.
Kind of
So
nodded.
tonight, the biggest highlight tonight, and then they do have ghosties that go up and down the street, Main Street, is the headless horseman. He leads the parade. He comes out on a horse, and they've got this outfit on him where his head must be in the chest, so he can see out because it's cut off right there, right. So it's the headless horseman comes down Main Street on a horse. It's spectacular to watch, and it's quiet when he comes down. There's no music playing, so all you hear is a clomp, 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 clomp of this horse. And it's the headless horseman, and the outfit's got to be the guy, the outfit itself must be like 6 feet tall because, like I said, his head has to be, the actual guy has to see out to ride the horse, so his head's got to be somewhere in the neck or the chest, but you can't tell where the head is because he's headless, right? So it's really really cool. So if you get a chance to do that, just to watch that part of that parade at the beginning, it's fantastic to watch. And that's where I start. That's where I get in the mood for Halloween. Like tonight, I'll probably come off of here and wait for the parade to start, so I can see him go down Main Street because that's what it's all about.
When's that going to be on?
It should be on. I think they do I think there's like 2 parades a night, so I think there's one at 8 p.m. and then I think there's one
So
at 10 p.m. before the park closes.
oh,
Yeah.
it's on tonight, you said?
Yeah.
What
So if you
station?
guys you guys tune into one of the Disney live streamers on YouTube, and then the people that are like Jerry or on TikTok, you can tune into probably Versace or Jungle Skipper. I think he's over there tonight. I'm not positive, but somebody's bound to be on. Just go on there and Google Disney influencers, and somebody's bound to be there. But it's fantastic when he comes down because you can't tell where the guy is even looking out of to maneuver the horse. It is so cool. That's the best part. But it's Halloween time. Okay, that being said, I will be back Sunday at the usual time, 6 p.m. Pacific, with Dracula. We're continuing that book, and I think we have about another week or so. We might have more, but we'll see how that goes. Because as soon as I finish Dracula, we're gonna pop over and read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So we're gonna have a nice Halloween theme thing going with these books. And again, Monday, I'm working on getting the gentleman from Tucson to come on and talk about the ghosts of Tucson, Arizona, and all over Arizona. So hopefully he's with us. Otherwise, next week's full for guests. You're going to like it. It's going to be fun. But again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, I don't see any love in there. What's up with that? Where's my thumbs up? Come on, come on. Nancy and I work hard. Show us some love. Show us some love. Nobody liked us tonight?
I want to say
Anyway,
hello, girls, Michelle. And I was reading some of these. I think it was Judith that said the lights are on a cycle. I'll get it real quick. Some lights cycle off and on. Some lights cycle off and on a schedule. Well, it's odd that I'm walking under when they turn off. That kind of gets my attention. Um, so thank you, girls. Judith, Michelle. Uh, I know there's some other names here. Where are they here? Oh, California Haunts.
that's
Marissa, I
me.
knew that you were Jerry's in here.
Yeah.
I've
And
enjoyed
Michelle.
you girls typing
Well, the
up. I
thing is,
just
too, when you
now that the
talk
show is
about,
over.
yeah, when you talk about walking down the street like that, I've had it happen, and this is like 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night,
Uh-huh.
where I'm
Uh-huh.
walking down the street and the lights will go off, or a light, not only not lights, but a single light will go out when I walk under it. So it's kind of creepy. Nancy's right; it's a
Mhm.
creepy feeling because I have known psychics, and I can tell you this right now. I have known psychics that have such abilities that they can walk into a supermarket or a Walmart and knock all the power out. I've seen it
Oh
happen.
no,
Woodland Opera
that's
House.
awful.
Yeah, we were investigating the Woodland Opera House, and we got the energy so charged that not only did we knock the power out, we knocked out the fire alarm. So everything had to be reprogrammed.
That's
So
really
it does happen. It does happen. A lot of energy cycling through. Okay. Anyway, if you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We are equal opportunity here. Just trying to get the word out about our little show. And I hope you guys heard my announcements at the beginning. I'm not going to go back over all that, but there's a lot coming up, a lot going on that's going to be bringing that I'm going to be presenting to you guys, and I hope you like it all. And yeah, I'm going to start having some big fun, big fun. I love it when the holidays start rolling around, and I
yeah.
think there's a friend of mine out there who has offered to get me my Haunted Mansion Aloha shirt. So that'll be great for the
How
holidays, right?
fun is that,
I'll
right?
have the Hat
Well, I
Fox
look
ghost
forward
on
to
my
my
chest.
coffee
Yeah.
cups. Yeah.
Yes. Right. So yeah. So I'll have
I
all that going on. So that time of year is coming up. So it's going to get fun. I'm going to have a different backdrop when I do the other show because that other show has to have its own little backdrop and mysterious looking things going on. So I'll have a green screen backdrop behind me for that show, and it should be interesting. I'll have some really interesting TikToks coming out. Not only my face doing weird things, but I've had like 2 or 3 TikToks planned for a while. It's just been too hot to go in the other room and shoot them in the studio.
yeah.
But since it seems to be cooling down, I'm going to try and shoot a couple this weekend. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm getting excited. Getting excited.
I know
All
you
right. Don't
really
forget to
enjoy
visit the
that show.
Patreon.
It's
Check us
fun.
out. And pretty soon. Oh yes, the website. So I'm going to make that announcement. I'm going to get the website back for the radio show and what I thought of doing because funds are tight. It's the tight. They're tight all over. I'm going to combine the two websites for now. So the radio website will be combined with the main paranormal team website. We're going to have, like I said, a newsletter. We're going to have all kinds of cool interactive things on there. Okay, so that's coming up too. So lots of work, lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff to launch. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to subscribe. Where's my thumbs up? Look at the old left. No thumbs up. Look at that. No thumbs up for happy faces. Guess they don't like me tonight. Okay, fine. This is what I say to you. It's just this whole thing. All right, have a good have a good couple days. I will see you guys on Sunday. Have a great one, everyone.
Good night, everybody. See you in a week. Bye-bye.